What's going on, guys? How you doing? This is a donation request. This is the band Asia. Not that Asia. Not the Asia that I was thinking. I didn't know there was another Asia. And maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But this is the song Love May Be Gone from 1979. And when I look up Asia, you get the band that started in 1981. That's not math. Right? So it's not, at least to me, it's not the same band. I'm like, that's not Steve Howe. That's not Steve Howe. I promise you. But I can't find any information on this band. I type it in and it just goes to the other Asia. It just goes to the one that was, literally can't find anything on this band. Oh, what's this? Progressive hard rock from Rapid City, South Dakota, active between 77 and 82. Hang on. This is more information than I found of anything. Ultimately scuppered by legal action taken by the subsequent Asia 2. Previously named White Wing, went on released in 76 and a few singles, and later named Solomon Kane. Okay, there you go. Love May Be Gone. That's what we're checking out today. Mike Coates. MikeCoatesGuitar.com. Look at this. Self-described progressive art rock band from Rapid City, South Dakota, which is on the edge of the beautiful Black Hills where spiritualism and Native American lore still abound. And it's also freezing, or else it might be nice up there. Right? Right? I mean, it's cold today in Florida here. And I'm just like, yo, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I'm so over this. Okay. Asia recorded 2 independently released albums, Asia 1979 and Armed to the Teeth 1980. Released 2 singles, The Road of Kings and Paladin, and backed up many major touring acts like Nazareth, Ted Nugent, Molly Hatchet, Kiss, Bachman Turner Overdrive, and others. This is a story of those very special times and most importantly of our music. Wow. This is cool. This guy just had to put up his own website for it because there's no other information, right? But that's cool. This is cool, actually. It's cool. Demise of Asia was a tale of classic rock and roll tragedy. I've told the story so many times in the last 10 years that I hope this account relieves me, at least in part, of that responsibility in the future. But here it is for the record. After the completion of Armed to the Teeth, there was a considerable amount of time that passed before we saw finished product, 6 months, as I recall. So many odd things occurred which affected the release date that when one looks back at the string of events, it seemed like our fate was predetermined. Sometimes that kind of thing, it feels that way, right? Where it's like, you're trying to do something and it feels so easy. It's just like flows out and it's like cake. And other times it's like you're trying to do something and it feels like every single step of the way there's these barriers and hurdles. And sometimes that's life telling you something. Who knows? But sometimes it's just like, right? It's just like that. And I've heard on many occasions having to do with many different things that, like I remember reading or hearing that Dimebag Darrell would talk about songwriting and writing, that like all the best songs came real fast. And if it was something that they had to just work on, it wasn't worth it, or it wasn't as good as the ones that just came out. There's something about that. I've heard it having to do with other things also. And even, I was in Los Angeles a week or two ago, maybe 3 weeks ago from when this is airing. And, the gig was a little bit like that. It was a little bit like there was some resistance, and everything was fine, but there was some weird things, and there was this vibe that kind of happened. I don't know. It was interesting. It's this type of thing. It's like, there's a lot of things that are kind of just flashing at you like red, like, hang on a second. Anyways. Okay. I'm not going to get into all of this, but I'm glad I found something because I couldn't, I'm like, what? All right, here he is in all of his mullet glory. Mike Coates. Guy's got a master's producing records, classical guitar projects. Understand that the diversity of material here is extreme, but I can assure the reader that work in the assorted areas was equally concentrated and intense. My classical guitar instructor. Most musicians will find something of interest, curiosity here. The one common denominator to all these seemingly disparate elements was my initial philosophical concept that great rock music was the natural evolution of 19th, 20th century classical music, and more fundamentally that music is the most direct conduit to the divine. I mean, this is an aside, but I don't think it's a big deal. Like, I don't think that musicians think it's that far off that somebody could play and be good at multiple genres of music, right? But I think that it's weird for like audience members, for non-musicians to think that and have that register and make sense. You know, like most people on here, when they see me and they don't know me, they think that I'm just some metal guy, even though I wrote for Earth, Wind & Fire and produced for them. And I play in rock bands, and I played in a country band. I've played in blues bands, and I've studied jazz and all. And, you know, like to me, music is music. It's whatever is great music. I just like great performers, great players, and great songs. I don't care what the genre is, right? Like, and I can play multiple genres, right? Like, there was over a decade where I was playing just like jazz, R&B, soul music, right? Heavily improvised music. Then another decade where I'm playing heavily just rock, you know, also maybe more jammy, improvised style, you know, music, but like lots of rock music. And it's like, you could do any and all of it and be really good at all of it. Maybe not every musician is like that. And I understand that there's the whole like, well, you need to like just do your thing and just niche down type of thing. And it's like music. There's too much good music to do that. You know, just like it, to me, the common denominator for me is always the song. Just a great song. I don't care what the style is. If it's a great song, that's going to be the thing that catches people, right? Anyways, all right, let's get to this. Asia, Love May Be Gone. So this sounds like it's what? 1979 Prague from South Dakota. Wow. All right, let's get into it. Bam. The like dual guitar action, right? Like Southern rock almost, right?
Call a good friend, and
Okay. The melodic stuff and like it seems a little bit wordy and almost like a stereotypy type of lyrics or whatever. It's okay, it's not special. You can tell, you know, why it just kind of fell by the side. You know what I mean? It's not, doesn't specifically stand out. We got these guitars and the acoustic behind it, you know, strummy action. That's a pattern right there. That's like an exercise to me. There it is. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't stand out to me. Like, this doesn't stand out at all to me. I think that their story in this website of this guy's is a bit more interesting to me than like the music itself. The story of it, that's kind of more interesting. The music is like, you know, like, okay, they're not bad, but it's not special, right? It doesn't, there's nothing that stands out where it's like, oh yeah, this is actually really cool. Maybe there's other songs on there that are, you know, more interesting. I don't know. Asia was formed with the express intent of capitalizing on the successes of White Wing and learning from its failures. We set out to make a more sophisticated yet accessible music, which would clearly feature the considerable vocal and guitar strengths of the band with keyboards and elaborate production initially taking a secondary role. Musical objective was to record an album every other year and to establish a strong enough track record of singles airplay to attract the attention of a major label. It almost worked. We especially wanted to correct past business mistakes, reluctant to leave the Black Hills and our families. Asia abandoned old White Wing practices of touring any and every small town, concentrated on the club circuit, the more urban areas of the upper Midwest, Rapid City, Fargo, Omaha, Kansas City, Winnipeg, and Minneapolis, where we could more readily supply album stock. And finally, our manager, Mike Chambers, purchased a bar in Rapid City, the Barbarian, that was to become our base of operations. I remember now clearly stating my personal goals to the other band members. I want to create a music my children will be proud of. I want to leave this band the way we started, as friends. Tough goal. First Asia album was recorded at ASI Studios in Minneapolis in 2 sessions, early 78. And it too sought to correct problems in the White Wing project. ASI had edited what was supposed to have been a total concept White Wing album into select tunes to better accommodate airplay objectives. I was so disappointed in the end result that I vowed to make each Asia composition self-sufficient in its own right. Borrowing on an old 60s Deep Purple formula, I sought to compose pieces that could be edited for airplay, yet which in the original form featured long middle instrumental passages where the band could really get down to the business of music making for our more ardent fans. We want a leaner, more straight ahead sound with fewer overdubs on the first Asia recording. And our initial sessions with Dan Holmes yielded the recordings of A Better Man for Leaving and The Road of Kings. When we returned later to ASI to complete the project, Dan explicitly assigned Minneapolis bassist producer Dick Headland to the project, with what I would characterize as having mixed results. Recording my guitar, a 69 SG, through a 7300 watt Marshall was always a real problem in those days, basically because we were very, very loud, and Dick was, after all, a bass guitarist. Oh, Jesus. Some of the best producers, in my opinion, are bassists. But we liked working at ASI because they had an unusually large sound room, and decibel levels were not an issue there as they were at other studios. However, basic sounds were always a problem. We worked for over 12 hours to get a guitar sound on that project, and the end result was unfortunately less than satisfactory. Yo, why are they using such large amps? You don't need that. Yeah, that's a problem. You don't need that at all. Use small amps. I record with this little guy, this little Vox. Or this the B15 is, you can't go wrong with that thing. That thing's classic. I mean, I've recorded with this also, this 412 for like I did a cover of No Quarter with that thing. I mean, it's what it is. Anyways, one of my Marshall cabinets was recorded in an office hallway while I monitored at stage volume level in the main room with the band's full sound system functioning as my monitor. As crazy as it sounds, these were not problems unique to us. We knew that from talking to major artists like Nazareth and REO Speedwagon, but they were problems that ASI engineers generally could not surmount, and so the sound of the band on vinyl really suffered. Because of the more inferior nature of that first production, I have chosen to include the Asia album after the Arm to the Teeth tracks on the current CD compilation. I am, however, very proud of the performances and compositions. There you go. Okay, interesting. Yeah, see, all this kind of stuff is a little bit more interesting to me than the song itself. The song itself, I'm kind of, whatever. It's not, it's whatever to me. There you go. Unnecessarily harsh. All right, cool. Band, Asia, not the one you thought of. All right, thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Later.